Anglo-Saxon pronunciation, long vowels. Let's get right to it. So, the following is from an Old English Grammar and exercise book by Charles Alphonso Smith. Next, we have Old English Grammar by Joseph Wright, an Old English Grammar by Eduard Sievers, translated by Albert S. Cook, and then we have a first book in Old English by Albert S. Cook. Links to these textbooks are in the description below. Let's get right to it. So long vowels, well, before I really get into that, not all scholars agree on the same pronunciation for Anglo-Saxon, because some scholars take different assumptions, if you will, if that makes any sense. But just so you guys know that we got to bear in mind that in subsequent videos of this playlist, or what have you, that you have a lot of variations of the same word as far as spelling, or what have you. So by extension, one can infer that there would be variation of pronunciation as well. So you can have more than one pronunciation, that could have existed beside a pronunciation. I hope that makes sense because I don't want anyone to really beat themselves up for pronouncing something quote unquote wrong when really it's not wrong. It's just different because depending on the person's background, just as languages today, how they pronounce things, right? Arguably for the Anglo-Saxon period, you can say that, well, one can pronounce something, pronounce Old English, but heavily influenced by, let's say, Latin or Old Irish, for example, or influenced by the Germanic continental languages, So there's a lot of wiggle room. There is wiggle room, but within the within the guidelines. So there are guidelines because you can't just take any letter and just and imagine it could be anything you want it to be. But I hope that makes sense. So there is some wiggle room. So please don't beat yourself over, quote unquote mispronunciation or this or that. Not only you got dialectal, but also period as well, because you could be sounding like someone much later in the period or much earlier, or mix it up. So anyway, let's move right on. So we have our long vowels here. So we have long A, long ash, long E, long I, long O, long U, and long eval, or you could call it an OE ligature, and long Y. So the line above that is called a macron. Okay, so this determines the length of the vowel. So you extend it. In some cases, the sound of the vowel changes. It's not like that for all vowels, but for some of them, the sound changes. This is really important because the meaning of a word can change completely. So it's good to be very familiar with macrons, right? So that's something to bear in mind. Okay, so the reason why I have it displayed like this, as opposed to just having the letters on the screen, so to speak, proper in this presentation, because I can't for the life of me get the Ethel character or the macron properly. I don't think it exists, or maybe it doesn't. I have trouble getting it, magnified or what have you. So this is the best I can make it and represent it. Otherwise, I would have to put the macron on the O, and it wouldn't look very nice. But anyway, let's move right on. For long A, as in father, aw, or as in far, all right, and very nicely that all the linguists here, Joseph Wright, Cook, and Smith, they all unanimously agree that it's all aw. So as in father, far, etc., etc. Moving right on. So we got some examples here. We got on, bon, rop, ston, twa, kanawan, mawan, sawan. Of course, this is a guideline. I mean, of course, you would have people that would pronounce it a little differently. You could have people that may well pronounce this as an, ban, rap, stan, twa, Kanawan, Mawan, Sawan, etc., etc. But aw is the guideline here, as indicated by our linguists here. All right. Next, we have long ash. The first pronunciation will be eh, or as if you will, English air, or French père, père, like eh. Or as in German long umlaut a of eh, eh. Or as in English care, so eh. But then it doesn't stop there. It could be a long sound, a long so like as in man, but like an sound, like a long But the thing is, this is where linguists don't agree on the same pronunciation. But however, actually, this requires some explanation, because thing is, you do have a variety of pronunciations. I think this would be due to different etymologies, and you would have etymologies that would have an in their origins, or an if you will. So I would think, the linguist in question would have to pick either or as a general pronunciation. I mean, you could unanimously, when you see long ash, you could just do as in air, or pear. Or you can just, every time you see long ash, it'll be ah, ah. So this long So this like as in English hat, This, oh man. So without further ado, so here is with the first pronunciation, so to speak. So we have early, kleine, dead, helan, ledan, wepen, se, said, slepan. Or klane, dad, halon, ladon, weapon, sad, slapon. So you can do either or if you want. But if you really, really want to be phonologically specific, you would have to look up the etymology of each of these words and to try to ascertain the exact accurate historical pronunciation, right? But both pronunciations would have existed side by side, just as they have variations of spelling. So that's something to bear in mind. I mean, this is just a guide. So like as English, air, as in French père, as in long long German umlaut e. You got care in English, and then you got the one for from Smith, right? So anyway, I hope that makes sense. Okay, moving right on. Next, we have long e, and it's like as in German re, or English the. Well, it's sort of like an e sound, e, if that makes sense. So we got the IPA there to help us out. So next we have some examples, and we have queen, sedan, grene, he, hair, teeth. Long I, as in German ihn, as in English feed. So it's really just an E sound, as in English machine. E. Very easy, hopefully. E. E. Not E. So we got some examples here. We got thief, leaf, mean, seethe. All right, so very easy. Next, we have long O, and it's like an O sound, as in German, Bote, O. Sorry, O, Bote. As in English tone, possibly that anyway, or as an English note, pure but not diphthongal, if that makes any sense. So like an O sound, O, right? So let's get into some examples. So we got bok, brother, gol, gås, gråan, modor, mona, over, sona, thorte. So here we have long U, and this should be pretty easy. It's just an oo sound, as in German gut, or as in English food, or English rune, or as in English rule. Yeah, so just an oo sound. So gut, food, food, rune, rule. Okay, so let's get into some old English examples. So we got cool, doen, hoes, mooth, sur, toon, oos, and oot. All right, pretty straightforward. Moving on. Long edel as an so it's an sound. So schön, as in German schön. Yeah, yeah, if that makes sense. Let's get into some examples. So we have böck for book. We have döma or döman, meaning to judge. We got right? Quern, quern for queen. All right. Long Y, so the sound is like an U sounding, like German grün. Pretty much, it's just an U sound. U. Cook says as in English green, but the lips rounded. There's a little explanation from Charles Smith, Alphonso Smith, in a bit. So more or less, the long Y is an U sound. Grün, U, grün, U, U. Moving on to some. Oh yeah, so Smith and Cook say English as an English green, but Cook calls this less accurate. I guess this is for people having trouble with pronunciation, but we want accuracy here. So try your best to do an U sound. Grün, grün, U, U. So moving right on. So we have from Charles Alphonso Smith that vowels are said to be round or rounded when the lip opening is rounded, that is, when the lips are thrust out and puckered as if preparing to pronounce W. Thus, O and U are round vowels. Add ing to each, and phonetically, you have added wing. So, going, suing. So, yeah. This one, add that in there. Charles Alphonso Smith adds that in, so it's good to know about this. So, now to some examples with U. So, brood, brood for bride, hude for hide, moose for mice. Okay, well, with this one, it's there's like two pronunciations if you want, but you have ruskan, ruskan to wash. I mean, that's arguably an early pronunciation, but alternative, if you really want to, you could pronounce this as rushan as a later pronunciation, but anyway, so ruskan to wash or rushan to wash. Then we have uth for wave. So yeah, that's long Y. So it's just an U sound, as in German grün. Moving right on to the end of the video. Well, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you're new. And if you really like the channel, please become a patron at my Patreon page down below. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.